You say your name is Trapunksy?
Hi. Happy New Year to you guys. Welcome back to a new year of Brand Experience Live. I know we've already had a couple of episodes and we're really excited for 2023. My name is Ashley Pireda. I'm one of the hosts of Brand Experience Live, where we explore and discuss the individuals and brands that are delivering unrivaled brand experiences for their candidates, their employees, prospects, and buyers. And as usual, I'm joined by my amazing co host who always makes me laugh at the beginning of every single episode. Lagla Moik.
Hello, Ashley, and hello, Valerie. By the way, Ashley, how was your long Christmas break?
Amazing. Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
I'm glad, you took extra long break,
We
this year.
did. We did. We took a 4-week break between our last episode of last year and coming back in on January 13th. And it was a good opportunity for us to, right, just like settle down, be with our families, and also get things in line and ready for a new season of brand experience.
Ashley, you got extra 2 minute break, remember?
I
From
know.
last year, so, but
I
good.
know because
Well,
I left early.
yes. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Brand Experience Live. I can't believe it's 2023. So, welcome. So
Yay!
excited, so energized. Looking forward to this new. I think it's like a fresh start for everyone. And we have a very amazing guest today called Valerie Trapunksy from Chatterboss.
Yay!
Hello, Valerie. Welcome to Brand
Welcome.
Experience Live.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
We're happy to have you. So, Valerie, obviously, tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do, and a little bit about your brand Chatterboss.
Well, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. My name is Valerie. I'm the founder of Chatterboss. Chatterboss is a remote executive assistant service. We work with entrepreneurs and business owners, and we provide them with access with an on demand remote executive assistant. In addition to that, not only do entrepreneurs get one dedicated person that becomes their right hand, our clients refer to us like their mini COOs, their chiefs of staff, the individual that is supporting and helping the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs, the business owners run their businesses. But you also get an extended network of support. So each assistant has a backup assistant. That assistant is there in case your primary is sick, is away, or something happens. And beyond that, there is a network of specialists, so bookkeepers, copywriters, designers, etc. So what we strive to do is create this full ecosystem of support for our entrepreneurs so that they can really kind of skyrocket the decisions that they need to make, the any kind of support that is needed. So we cut out the extra steps in the middle.
Wow, this is obviously, I know the topic a little bit because obviously in my previous career as well, I worked as an executive assistant to C-level executives. I understand how demanding is this role and how important it is to build actually relationships, and that trust. So tell us how you got started in this business.
Yeah, so thank you for asking me that. I had an opportunity to work as an executive assistant myself. And so my story, I think, for similar to other entrepreneurs, is not linear. I started my experience, my career in advertising, and I thought that I would stay in advertising my whole life. My goal was to become a CEO of an advertising agency, and that was pretty clear for me. But somewhere along the way, I got an opportunity to work as an executive assistant to a high net worth individual who had a pretty large business worldwide. And so stepping into that executive assistant role, it also then transformed itself into a chief of staff and business development and so on. And I learned what possibilities there are of being someone's right hand, how powerful that personal and executive assistant role is. And from there, I continued to build on my experience. I worked as an executive and a personal assistant in a few other positions. And I felt like I really kind of reached that kind of top of the echelon of like who I could be possibly supporting in this industry. But the only catch was that because I ended up in this role kind of accidentally, I didn't have the opportunity to do like a full audit. Am I going to love being an executive assistant my whole life? And if I had if my character was slightly different, then yes, I know that I would have stayed for my whole life in that position because it was so exciting. But my character actually stopped me from being able to kind of, there were certain things that were very, very challenging for me. And so then I created Chatterboss to be able to say, okay, I know how to do it right. And I can find the people that can do it right. And that's where the magic happened.
And I will say that your last comment on I know how to do it right and I can find the people to do it right. I am right here to say, so I am a client of Chatterboss, and you guys are amazing at finding the right people. Today we're going to be hitting on buyer experience with you all, and it's because of my personal experience with your brand that I am so excited to learn more about the whys behind the decisions that you've made for each step of prospect onboarding and okay, I'm a current client, because you guys do a fantastic job, Valerie, of matching the right people and interviewing and getting to know each other. And like the courtship is incredible, to be honest. And I'm thrilled to be able to talk about that today. I found you all a couple of months ago. I personally, I own two businesses. Ivory Gold, which is a business and marketing solutions consultancy. Then I also have Free Skin Co., which is a skincare line that's dedicated to mental health. Two very different companies, but both very much so me. And when it comes to running one company, it's already difficult as a solopreneur, especially when you're going from, okay, full-time. It doesn't matter if you've had experience as a business owner before, like I have. You're going from one environment to another. And the truth of the matter is that you should not necessarily be making and overseeing everything for yourself, for your business, because that's when you become siloed. That's when you make mistakes. That's when you forget about all the other pieces that are involved in the machine, regardless of how good you are at solving problems for other people and providing solutions. You have to have that. And that's why I started looking for a VA. I was looking for months before I decided to have a conversation with you all. And I decided to have a conversation because you were all so amazing at the prospect experience and at your social media and the website, right? And just sharing other experiences of others. And I think that's really special that a lot of brands miss out on, is the why behind it. Why did you decide for you that it was important to share success stories and the process and the why behind it during the prospect journey?
Yeah, we think about the onboarding journey a lot, and part of it is inspired by my own needs, right? So I understood what it is to be an executive assistant, but also my character is more closer to entrepreneurs. And so that ability that a lot of entrepreneurs have to lose certain details, that ability to be distracted and so on. And so there was, there was part of the onboarding that was built around, this is what I would need to be able to succeed if I was doing this for the very first time. And a lot of it is inspired by, this is where I fell down and this is where I had to get up. And I would like to have other entrepreneurs avoid these certain pitfalls. Yes. And so we use that storytelling component throughout the process because we want to shortcut for entrepreneurs, especially those that are delegating for the first time, these are the tools. This is how you do it. This is what we've seen to be successful. You do not need to step into kind of a minefield, right? Go around, and this is how you can do it successfully. And so that's the reason, we like to share the stories. And the other piece of it is we want to show our potential clients, especially those getting started for the first time. When you do anything for the first time, it can be really challenging, and it is like a muscle. And we have to get ourselves into the habit, for example, of delegating. So there's also this aspect of it at the onset. This is what it could look like for you down the line. So almost, tapping into that human ability to drop things if we're not successful right away, to say, stay at it, because it's going to be really good.
Yeah, and I love it when you said you actually come to the point where you actually first have to educate, obviously, potential user, like who first time maybe using a service like that, because it's really unknown. And even when you work for the business company and they, let's say, hire business support, there is this onboarding, obviously journey, starting from the obviously awareness from HR until you get to that executive. So you have to do that kind of prep work beforehand, because otherwise, it's very hard for the person. Otherwise, I don't know what I should delegate, how I should let go of this, that, and how I'm going to build that trust. I guess relationship and trust is very important in this journey, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the relationship is everything, but you said two things, right? One is that anxiety that people have when they're getting started delegating. Yes. A lot of people do not start delegating because they think, I have to get it really perfect before I hand it off to my assistant. So before I even think about hiring and what that looks like, I first have to get my mind around what's everything that I'm going to delegate and how I'm going to delegate it. And this kind of DIY approach, yes, you can do it. You can sit, you can read a lot of books, you can interview a bunch of people, and you can, a few years later, be ready for your first VA. We want to kind of save entrepreneurs from that process to say, hey, all you need to know is you need to come with the decision that I am ready to start handing things off, and I'm ready for the support. The rest of it, we will guide you, because we have seen what is the best way for entrepreneurs to delegate things, and we will make you that roadmap. So when you get started, you get a 6-month roadmap, what you're going to delegate in month 1, 2, 3, and what are your goals.
And you do that. And something that I love is the fact that you all are very clear with the system that you have created and the process that you have from before any kind of call with you. And then after, right, there is a prospecting call, a discovery call. And then the discovery call, by the way, is just amazing, fantastic, Valerie. I think it was like almost an hour long. And it was just a really nice conversation between two people, genuinely getting to know each other, the whys behind it. And even though for me, for example, I wasn't speaking to someone that was going to be working with me, it was recorded. They were genuinely interested in me. They made a lot of connections, which was so cool. This is how I got to know you, aside from just this conversation, was a lot of the things that I was saying. Your team was like, that reminds me of Valerie. Okay, let me think of what Valerie needs and how Valerie thinks. And that was just super cool that your people know you so well, that they know how you think and what you would want to give to me as an individual based on what I am saying, and the other individuals that you work with on the VA side. And even after onboarding, for me, I have experience delegating in my own personal businesses as well as a leader for other organizations. But this is a new venture for me. It's a new way of delegating in my eyes, right? Really looking at partnership, of being an extension of my mind eventually, right? Not right away. But something that I love is that you do send emails of, hey, here's some things that I suggest for you to be able to delegate this week. Or for the holiday, you guys sent like an email for the holidays being like, you have people to buy for, delegate it. Like, don't worry about it. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
But this is good. You give literally ideas, what needs to be kind of done.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm thinking these are so small tasks, I can't delegate them, because it's how I'm going to do that. Maybe they are too overqualified for that. But actually saying, taking off that workload and helps the rest of things flow, because then I have time to focus on a bigger picture.
Yeah, and what you say really, speaks into the heart of what we try to communicate to our entrepreneurs. What we want to do for our entrepreneurs is give them the opportunity to create white space in their lives. And what that looks like is removing all of those other
Yes.
distractions. What it also looks like is trying to anticipate on an individual level and also on a company level what you might be needing, what can take away some of the steps in your process to get you to wherever you're going this week, this month, this quarter faster. So I'm very grateful that permeates all of your words is really it's very meaningful to be able to hear it, because we do a lot of work on the inside as an organization. And specifically, I think it comes down to our core values. We spend a lot of time on the core values, and then I would say, from that kind of branding experience, what is the one thing that entrepreneurs can do to really make sure that what they're communicating internally really lands externally, is to go through that core values exercise and be really clear on what those are, and then also have them really live in all of the processes, in the interactions with your employees, with your vendors, with your clients. It becomes something very beautiful, and it also becomes like something that feels like outside of yourself. It ends up like that. I think that when we created the core values was when, or rather when we recommitted to our core values, was when it started to feel like, what, the organization stands on its own, with its own personality, with its own way of being, and it's no longer about who is on the team. Like, that is important, but if we had to replace the entire team, including myself, the personality still lives, and we would be able to recreate this experience, which has been really mind-blowing and also humbling and just very, very, very cool.
Wow. Sounds like you are really, like, I think when people come to this process, from as an entrepreneur or solo entrepreneur or small business, and not to know what to expect, and then you're exceeding all these expectations, so that's where it's probably is like, wow, I didn't even realize it's existing, a service like that. But tell us, like, so typical, I am very passionate about buyer's journey. So tell us typical kind of the buyer journey in this process, because, different businesses have a different timeline,
Yes.
So they are like starting from, some people are converting straight away into client, and that's still done. What would you say it's a typical journey on this process, working with someone? How long it takes them to make a mind saying, yes, it's the right thing for me?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've been operating now, we're in our 6th year, and we are still, thank you. We are still 60 to 75% based on referrals.
Okay.
And that referral journey is very specific in and of itself, is that there is a lot of trust that comes when someone is coming to you from someone that they trust.
Yeah.
On the one hand, that conversion is easier. People get started with you faster because you came from a trusted source. That also has really kept us on our toes in terms of, we're always doing our best, but when your leads are coming from referrals in such a high quantity, that it's not just about this client, it's also whether they go back to their community. So we've been so kind of like community based all of this time, and it's really, it's really kind of kept us in check, right? Something goes wrong, we have to fix it really, really fast, because it can kind of have that ricochet effect. With that said, over the last few years, we've explored and started to dabble into ads and more kind of cold conversations with individuals. That lead time is longer, and so that could take anywhere from 30 days to a few months for someone to be able to convert.
Yes.
That is where, and Ashley, I'm so glad, you kind of mentioned that it resonated, the content. That's where content has become very important, because if before we could lean on the leader of a community to kind of do that conversation for us, with the colder leads in that journey, we have to stand on our own 2 feet, provide our own content for people to learn that they can trust us. And those, user stories, those success stories become even more important when that person is coming from that kind of a funnel.
And I'm glad that you're doing both, right? It's important to have multiple channels for your prospect funnels. We talk all the time about, don't just focus on one way of acquiring revenue. Yes, for example, you all, right? We receive the majority of our business through referrals, which is amazing. And that's, for any business, the most powerful form of marketing. But you still have to have the cold outreach, the inbound. You still have to, have ads here and there, right? Even if you're not heavy on them, it's really good to build to having that diversity in your go-to-market approach, because it helps for the longevity of your health of your company. So I'm so glad that you all have recognized that, and that you're saying that, right? Like you sound like a marketer, and I love that.
Yeah. But what I believe now, it's probably easier, because when you started 6 years ago, I'm going back, like obviously my days working as an executive assistant, I think 6 years ago was still very hard to kind of tell the businesses that, we are this external support for your business, and we can do everything remotely. I believe like probably the first 3 years, you just had to educate how to work remotely together with the business. And then when pandemic hit, probably
You were like,
so much easier. It was like, finally, it happened to me, because I said, I can do everything remotely for you. They said, no, you have to be at 20 villages. I said, no, it's working. Trust me. And I feel like when the pandemic hit, it kind of manifested itself, saying this, it's working. It's a future. How do you find that, obviously, when you started 6 years ago and now, like how easier is to communicate with our clients, and saying, yes, we can do everything remotely for your business?
Yeah, you've hit it right on the head, because in the beginning it was really a lot of the first movers. Especially, we launched in the App Store, so it was really people. We worked with some really brilliant entrepreneurs, and I think that also influenced kind of our evolution as a company, because we were really interacting with first movers. Yes, the conversation about virtual assistants has been around for a while, but these people were downloading the app from an app store. A lot of people were asking questions like, are you artificial intelligence? Are you real people? There was that whole, that was a part of our sales conversation, to explain we're a real person. That's why, we'll answer you in a few minutes, right? And all of that. And there was that big educational component of, how do you communicate to people virtually? How do you have remote relationships? And to be honest, a very challenging part was how people treated other people on a remote basis, because there was something in their head, like, I don't see you, and you're, I'm not thinking about your feelings as much. It was a little bit, the interactions were more challenging. I could say now, I think through the evolution of COVID, but also through, yes, people understanding, certain principles about working remotely, and also us identifying, who are we? Who's our ideal client? I think so. There's a part of that, and also the people who are attracted to us are now these really self-aware, very kind people that sometimes I think, oh, the whole world is like this, right? Like everyone is like this, because that's everyone who we're interacting with. But I have to remind myself, we've filtered out for anyone that doesn't that doesn't fit this criteria, which has been very, very cool for us and for our assistants.
And that's the goal. That's the goal, right? It's to focus on your ideal customer profile. And that doesn't mean that you are not going to receive attraction from those that are outside of your ideal customer profile, right? And that doesn't mean that those that don't fit that ICP, that ideal customer profile are not going to become clients, but the ICP helps you to focus on the environment that you want to create and the culture that you want to expand from the inside out for your business. And that is why it's so important, so that you can focus on delivering the best experience possible from right prospect to onboarding to now buyer and evangelist. And that's the goal. Should be the goal for every single business, is to deliver such a great experience up until and after someone is onboarded, so that they are your evangelists. They're going to market for you, and they're finding other like-minded people that are going to benefit from your product or service as well. And you're obviously doing a very, very, very good job of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess also for your people who work with you, I mean, this time also like VAs and stuff, because they all remotely and not only working with the Chatterboss brand, but also with other brands. So it makes the job much more like a much faster learning, because sometimes when you're in this one corporate environment, you do only same thing from day to day. And this is where frustration happens. If there is no progression, no opportunities to develop, that's where people start to, get a little bit itchy and saying, okay, time to leave. So this is kind of great opportunity basically to figure out as well, okay, which directions, is my strength, my goals, I really want to maybe develop more this side of me. And then obviously they can talk to you so you can match them with their clients, who has similar values and opportunities for them. So I guess it's just the future. It's really better match, isn't it? So and sometimes, probably these relationships are short-ended, and that's fine, because then you move over to something else, something different. So
what I love about the model that you all have. So me, I focus a lot with clients on being a revenue growth partner. And what that means is that I am higher level strategy of overseeing, right, the future of their brand, depending on, right, what their individual visions are, what's going on in the market, things that I've experienced with other business owners, trends that are going on, and really identifying and prioritizing what should be focused on from a strategy sense. And what I love about what you all do, which I would love to do going forward, is you're really the execution of that and ensuring that the strategies that are set and the priorities that are in line, right, that they're really executed on properly and followed through. And that is where a lot of business owners that I've worked with in the past, that's where they fall on, right? The strategy is like fun, let's dream and let's go about it. And I create execution strategies and say, okay, these are the vendors that you should work with. But then having this piece in the middle of, okay, we're actually going to make sure as Chatterboss that you are executing, whether we're doing it ourselves or we're following up to keep you in line. I love that so much, of where it picks up personally on my own, business model and how I help clients. And that's a huge missing piece for so many solopreneurs, especially.
Yes. How, if you look back on all of the good advice that you've had, all of the good strategy that you had, all of the incredible ideas that you had, and you say, wow, I had all of this years ago, and today I'm still sitting, still unexecuted, right? When it's in the realm of idea, and it's very, very painful for entrepreneurs to be in that position. And it comes from one of two places, right? It's either from the character perspective, that's a challenge for you, right? You have a million ideas a minute, and some of them are really brilliant, but the execution is challenging. Or you have a million things in your life. And so that project management piece and having the time to get all of these things done, that's a challenge. And so either one of these kind of individuals in the end suffers from not being able to bring to conclusion what it is that they wanted. And I've heard this concept, which I find fascinating. Any idea that you have put out there, but you haven't executed, it is like a battery that is draining constantly. So you haven't, like, it's like an app that's running on your phone that's still open, It's draining your energy, it's unexecuted, and you might as well either execute it, get the support to execute it, or cancel it. But a lot of the times we don't cancel it, we keep it. We think about it, we feel guilty about it, and we have to make a choice. And so when we don't have the time, or we don't have the competencies, or we don't have the desire to do all of the steps that need to be done to finish something, then we have to, the responsible thing is, who can support us, or cancel the plan, move to something else.
Yes. Yeah, so true. This is very well said.
So we have to wrap, but I have one last question. Out of all of the advice that you could give to other individuals, like, you guys have done a really great job at creating a process and executing it for your prospect onboarding and buyer experience. As related to that, what is one piece of advice that you could give to any like founder, business owner, solopreneur that they could utilize to start on that same journey of providing really great experience in the similar ways that you guys do?
Yeah, I think that most entrepreneurs go into their line of business because it's something that they love and it's something that they're going to be good at. So what we know, for example, if you as the entrepreneur, if you got on every single onboarding, if you got on every single sales call, then you're going to knock it out of the park every time, right? The challenge is, how do I now translate all of that to other people? And so what we did for years was we recorded almost every single conversation. And when it was time to start training somebody, we allotted a lot more time for people to be training in real time. So they would sit in on a bunch of onboardings. They would sit in on a bunch of sales calls. And you as the entrepreneur, you do not have to do the SOP. In fact, you should not be doing the standard operating procedure. It's going to take up too much time, but you can absolutely press record. You can absolutely have people in those conversations. And I think it's very important to give grace, because if we are the ones that are really good at that consultation, we're the ones that are really awesome at the onboarding. I found in the beginning, I was hypercritical when there was anything that went in a different direction than I would have said it. And I think that there's a part of that for the entrepreneurs that is mindset to say, someone is going to do it differently. And the moment you're going to get help, either in that kind of like anything that relates to like the brand experience or any part of the execution of your business, it's going to be different. And so hire right, bring on the right people that are going to match your values, match what you stand for, but then you have to give them the structure, but then also a lot for them, the opportunity to bring in their own experience, their own individuality, and then together you'll make it better.
I love it.
Wow. Me too. I love it. Something like I visioned, obviously, when I was working in my job, and I was thinking, there is a better way to do things, and here you go. You created something like that. Amazing.
Thank you so much. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put in the comments as well as up on the screen, which you might not be able to like really copy paste it from the screen. But if you all want to have a consultation or connect with someone at Chatterboss to understand how they could help you execute your business in a better manner, please go ahead and click the link that I'm going to provide in the comments and here on the screen. Feel free to contact me. You can reach out to Valerie directly on LinkedIn and ask any questions of her. I would be more than happy to, share more of my personal experience on what a fantastic brand this is. And, I don't take these things lightly when we have guests on the show that I've used personally, or when I choose to partner with other brands on a referral basis, right? As an extension of what I do for my clients. It is based on my personal experience of working with them. So you all know at least that you can trust from my experience. But we're so, so grateful that you were on with us today to take the time to have this conversation, and so looking forward to seeing how Chatterboss continues to grow in 2023 and beyond.
Thank you,
Yes.
guys. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you so
And for
much.
your trust. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you all have a great day. We'll see you next week at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays now for another episode of Brand Experience Live.
Thank you.